Let me begin my charge to your class with some personal remarks, as Pomona College is a very personal place. Each of the names of our graduating seniors has been read aloud by Dean Bilger, and you have each been recognized and applauded individually for your own accomplishments, as well as collectively as the class of 2017. Even the signatures on your diplomas are not printed or stamped, but individually signed by our board chair, Sam Glick, and me. That gives me a chance to pause and think about each member of the class at the end of 4 years here on campus. The personal approach at this college applies to sad events as well as happy. 2 weeks ago, at our memorial convocation, as I do each year on Alumni Weekend, I read aloud the names of those members of our board, our faculty, our staff, and our alumni who passed away during the last year, many of whom I knew personally. Next year, the name of a student, Junior Leah Bell, will be part of that list as we recognize in sadness her death in a tragic accident last weekend in Copenhagen. Our community has come together in the last week in personal support for one another. My wife Claire and I have deeply appreciated the personal connections we have had over the last 14 years with all of you at Pomona College. From the first year picnics with Dutchie and his amazing Caribbean band, to the ice cream socials for sophomores in our kitchen, to dinners with members of the senior class, from conversations at athletic events to attending concerts or plays, this college has been our home. Many of you, members of the class of 2017, have come to speak with me individually or in groups about issues such as Black Lives Matter, immigration, homophobia and transphobia, the challenges faced by religious students on campus, and the barriers caused by income to full participation. I have learned so much from all of you. Thank you. Last summer, as I thought about my last year here at Pomona College, I could not have imagined all the challenges that would actually lie ahead. A phrase that people sometimes use about a departure from such a role is glide path, suggesting coasting in for a soft landing. This last year has instead been an extremely bumpy ride. Like many of you, I had trouble sleeping on the night after the national election last fall. Sitting at my desk at 4 a.m. on November 9, thinking about what to write to the community, one phrase kept passing through my head, and it started the message that I sent to all of you a few hours later. It was, on a day like this, the personal and the political cannot be separated. I feel that just as strongly now, 6 months later. For each of us, an issue such as immigration is not just an abstract question to be debated in Washington. It has a direct effect on the lives of particular members of our community and their families. A decision about prisons, about guns, or police conduct has direct consequences for individuals. A travel ban or a visa refusal changes the lives of particular individuals, as well as our country collectively. I am proud of how our community has come together in support of those who are most vulnerable on or off campus, here in Los Angeles or around the world. For example, Pomona has taken a lead nationally in organizing support for the DACA program and undocumented individuals in this country. Our response is a personal one because we are directly connected to those affected. So I call on you to engage politically and to use your Pomona education for that purpose. It's not enough simply to complain privately about some action being taken. Organize, protest, vote, run for office, engage in the political world. While some might think politics is a dirty word, we've heard from Senator Schatz today that it can also be a high calling and an opportunity to help craft solutions to some of the world's most pressing problems. It can be difficult, but sometimes you must compromise, and you must work with people with whom you disagree. In doing so, you might not always accomplish exactly what you want, but you just might move forward the causes you care deeply about. Political engagement may involve difficult choices where none are ideal. How many millions of people did not choose to vote last November because none of the candidates represented exactly what they wanted? We are living with those choices today. I encourage you to engage in the system and change it, not to be put off by its flaws and inequities. 1 million people gathering to protest, or 5 million, has an effect, but so do 1 million people casting their votes for a candidate, even an imperfect one. Last August at Convocation, your ASPC President, Christina Tong, spoke of the false dichotomy in national dialogue between free speech on the one hand and support for inclusion and diversity on the other. She said that we are capable of having compassion for our peers while rigorously debating ideas. That observation has been borne out through the year in many ways. A campus like ours must provide a setting where people with different views and different personal backgrounds can engage with one another and learn from those discussions. We must not give up on our values of celebrating diversity and inclusion and yield to fears of the other that are fostered by some in our society. We must also not allow the valued term free speech to be taken over by those who use it as an excuse simply to shout hate, rather than to engage in true discussion and thoughtful listening to those with whom we disagree. Over the years, I've sometimes been criticized for bringing political issues into commencement addresses. But to me, this is a day both to celebrate our graduates and to engage in discussion about difficult issues all of us have throughout our time on campus. Today is about both the personal and the political. They cannot be separated. We join together to celebrate your accomplishments over the last 4 years, but also to charge you to use your education, the added gifts with which you have been entrusted at Pomona College, to make a difference in the world. Congratulations and best wishes.